And so we do have, of course, a community known as the Friends of the Fox River, and that is caring for the Fox River and the surrounding area. And we want to welcome here on with us today the Friends of the Fox River President and Educator, Gary Swick of Friends of the Fox River. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing swell, thank you.
I appreciate you coming in, taking the time and energy to come into the station and talk with us today.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. May I make a shout out
Of
to a
course.
dear friend? So,
Absolutely.
this goes out to Joel Smith. He passed away right at the beginning of the year, but we just had a celebration of life ceremony at his property, the Point Beach, just upstream on the Fox River on Sunday. And I spent many hours hanging out with Joel there, listening on his little transistor radio to WRMN.
Very nice. Yeah, we known him as Joel by the Riverside. If you remember, it was during at the time it was the first shift. He'd call in and he would always say poems. He'd give a nice poems. I remember one about an icicle dripping, and there were a lot of other ones too that he would give. So that's Joel by the Riverside. A shout out to him. So
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I appreciate that. That's very good. So tell us a little bit here too about what is Friends of the Fox River, sharing the mission of it as well too. What inspired its founding?
Well, we're a nonprofit, been around 35 years, and our mission is to preserve, restore, and protect the resources of the Fox River, and we do that by connecting people to nature in a variety of ways: education, advocacy, research, and restoration work.
Very good. And you've got a beautiful website here too, and I have it up on the screen for folks who are watching on YouTube. It is friendsofthefoxriver.org. You can find out information, of course, of what they do. Feel free to check that out, of course. Now, what are some of the biggest environmental challenges that we're currently facing, that are currently facing the Fox River and even the watershed as well?
Could I back up one,
yes, of
one
course.
moment?
Yes,
because you asked about founding.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
very great Elgin story. So back in 1989, the founder of the organization before that, Pat Reese, he categorized himself as a fisherman who occasionally takes work to feed the fish and himself. And they were redoing the Kimball Street Bridge, and a bunch of rubble got dumped in the river, and it damaged a spawning bed. And he had a tweaking moment, went to the city council and elsewhere, and he learned the river had no voice. And that's why he created the organization.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it was definitely that moment that he realized something needs to be done.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And so we carry on basically to be the voice for the Fox River.
I think that's great. That's fantastic. So again, now we'll start off with this too. So watersheds, that's like that's like an area. It's like water drains to the common outlet, like a common outlet.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's not a circle. It's not a geometric figure. It's based on topography. If you
Okay.
can visualize a peaked roof of a house, and so all the water that falls down on one side goes in one direction, so that might be into the Fox River, and all the water on the other side goes in another direction to like the Kishwaukee River and the Rock River. Those come together in the Mississippi River and down to the Gulf. So in taking care of the river, you need to be a caretaker of the entire watershed, because everything that happens within that area ultimately indirectly affects the river.
Absolutely. So the challenges that are being faced, what would you say would be, I guess, the biggest reason as to why we're facing challenges?
Because the river is not paramount in people's decision making. Oftentimes, it's maybe very personal. When somebody throws litter out the window, they're not maliciously attacking the river, but it impacts that. So the reason we have in our mission connecting people to nature is so people understand that they have this relationship. And overwhelmingly in our country, people care about protecting water quality and the natural environment. We have a long history of going from turds floating 50 years ago in the river to a very, very healthy river right now. But it's always under siege because things are happening in the watershed. So we work to build this watershed community of caretakers so people understand that their actions impact water quality and there's alternatives to the kind of things that we're doing. And so we've had a long history of steady improved progress in the physical and chemical water quality, but also in habitat, even though we continue to develop. And the increase in diversity of fish is incredible, and the predatory birds that we see flying around all the time, enjoying those fish are an indicator of that.
It's definitely something that you have to keep track of, though, too. It's not something that you can just kind of walk away from and say, okay, well, let's see what happens. Of course, nature does take its course, but it's also being able to monitor it and make sure.
Yes. Yep. And so asking what's the greatest challenge is we got a bit of a war zone going on right now with attacks on reducing environmental protection and restoration. And so the Clean Water Act right now is under siege, trying to limit, pare down regulations on there and enforcement, and that carries over into the U.S. EPA. So it's big deals like that ripple and come down. But we do a lot of advocacy work, but a lot of our stuff is right here where we live.
I'm sure you also have people that have to do a lot of research too.
Well, the Fox River Study Group was created in 2001, and that was established because the Fox River was categorized as an impaired waterway, which is similar to being an endangered species. When you get that status, by law, a plan has to be developed to address the reasons why you are endangered. So in the case of the Fox River, it's excess phosphorus, low dissolved oxygen, sedimentation, nuisance algae, and disconnection of the habitat. So the study group was formed through the EPA to work with municipalities and nonprofits to make a plan to restore water quality. And in 2015, they recommended attacking phosphorus at wastewater treatment plants. $150 million later, we're already going to exceed the standards that were set. And in 2022, they recommended dam removal to deal with the rest of the impairments.
Okay. Now, do you have to get approval from the city, or are you already on? You're good to go out and help to manage these different situations?
It depends. It's whoever has the jurisdiction.
Okay.
But I think what you were getting at is maybe research that's done. So one of our very basic and probably paramount thing is getting youth in their local streams checking water quality. So we're collecting water quality data, and we have that data. And sometimes it's used to bring to a city council to say, hey, we had a big change. This is why. And then it would be up to the municipality to look at an ordinance or a code violation or something like that. But it really is building stewardship. And so those kids get in the stream. Half of them probably have never been in a stream. They have no idea how alive it is. And it's so exciting to see all this life. And it's changing for them. And they realize that it's people that are in charge of the protection.
Do you feel that there's an uptick in younger folks getting involved?
Culture is changing, and it's a rough time to be young because the view forward is pretty dark in a lot of cases when you start thinking about climate chaos, et cetera. But young people, sometimes we say they're the decision makers of tomorrow. To me, they are the decision makers of today. They control their own consumer choices and their family's consumer choices. They're learning all the time. They are the leaders of tomorrow. And that's where Friends of the Fox River makes our big investment, is in the youth to try and change the culture. So when decisions are being made as a homeowner, a business owner, city council, in legislation, the value of protecting water quality is in their wheelhouse. So we have this learning continuum that awareness leads to understanding, to appreciation, to actual action, and making behavior changes.
Have you ever been? I know I'm kind of swaying away from the questions here. I'm just thinking questions on my own in my own head here. Have you ever been approached by someone who said, I just learned this information. I never thought that what I was doing was making such a big impact negatively. Have you received that before?
Yeah, that's one thing we try to do is show the impacts of our culture, but respect, like, this is our culture. This is why we do it. Managing your yard is a really pretty obvious one. Like, when did we get into this lawn culture that involves so many chemicals and energy and time, and what is it that we're getting from it? And when we really look at that, most people think, wow, we are wasting a lot and we are maybe threatening our health. What if we created habitat? And then realizing how we can have these beautiful native plants and the insects and birds that depend on them, and people make that change. Like, naturalizing yards and open spaces is a huge movement right now. And being able to demonstrate that it's economically wise to do that is the turning point. But it's been long part of our culture.
Very nice. So tell us a little bit here too. You work with over 5,000 participants annually. So, I mean, what do you do to kind of keep the community members kind of actively involved in that stewardship?
Well, we are fans of active communication. So we engage every day in social media posts as education and entertainment. We put a lot of energy into a weekly publication, the Watershed Weekly, and same thing, and anybody can go to the website and subscribe to that. And we do a lot of outreach events, want to engage with the public. We're really well known for cleanups and local advocacy work, restoration work with planting or naturalizing areas, but education really is our key. And that mainly is directed to youth, but it involves everyone.
Yeah, like you said, education is so important because, when you educate, it helps people, of course, to know what and what not to do, things that they may not realize they're doing, or ways that they can better the environment. And so that education is very important. So a little bit more here on the education, of course, does play that long-term, what role does education play in long-term watershed protection? And then how do you tailor your approach to reach both the students and the adults? I know that we talked about, of course, doing social media and making those posts. Are there any other ways too?
I don't know if I'm going to directly answer that, but so much of it is just the personal connection with our practices. And when you're saying that, it just reminded me of sometimes when we have to call people out, and like that I have an example. Students were checking the stream. All of a sudden, we see an oily sheen on there. We look upstream to a parking lot that just got seal coated, and there's storm drains right in the middle of the parking lot, graded so that's where the water goes. Well, it got sealed, and it rained that night, and so a lot of those petrochemicals went into the stream. Was a big kill-off. We contacted who owned the parking lot. We found out who applied the sealer, and that person was so thankful to hear about what happened. They were not proud of it at all, And right away, we had them on speakerphone in the classroom, and right away they started brainstorming. Maybe we could put diapers on the drains when we're applying it, and we need to look at the weather forecast better. So most of it is erasing some level of ignorance by providing that education that's there.
I'm sure it's also relief when the respondent understands too. I'm sure you've gotten people who don't. So I think that that's good though too, to focus on that positivity side of things as well.
Most people want to be part of a community, and they, we're products of the natural environment, and we rely on it. And when people oppose things, usually it's just a very personal thing that they feel is being threatened.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can individuals, schools, or local organizations get involved with Friends of the Fox River's mission, make a difference as well?
Well, go to the website, check out what we do. There was a group, there's a senior saying Caring for the River. That comes from a film that was made, Watershed Warriors.
Oh, wow.
It's available. It's 23 minutes long, available on YouTube through Rivers Our Life, and that demonstrates, profiles our organization. And Jenny, who just gave a talk last Sunday, she paddled the length of the river to try and get a better understanding as an educator, like what are the threats and what's the messaging that we should be doing. We have a phone number there. We have an email address. I see those. I try to respond the same day. Be happy to have a conversation about people's particular interests, their skills, and try and get them in. What we're about in this building a watershed community of caretakers is bringing new friends in that want to be friends of the river and figure out how that works for them. We have a big event coming up in September. Maybe I'll just save that for another question.
Or if you want to, we can talk about it too. It's is it a kayak as well?
No, we just recently had the first ever El Cardinal paddling event. It was nearly 100 paddlers, and it was to celebrate the National Water Trail, the fabulous Fox Water Trail from Algonquin into Dundee with the removal of the Carpenter Dam. So it was a freer flowing section of river. But what I'm referring to is the largest, physically the largest event we have. It's our Fox River Day. It's the third Saturday in September. It was originally designed to be a watershed-wide, that's 200-mile long river cleanup to show the unity between each of the communities. We all live downstream of somebody else, but it has morphed into just a really joyous celebration that people can celebrate any way they want. So most of it are cleanups, but some are paddling events. There's art by the river. We had Healing Bowls by Tyler Creek last year. So we're right now looking for people that would like to host an event. And I ask people, just think about, what's your connection to the river? Do you like just picnicking? Then invite people to join you in a picnic. Do you like biking? Then invite your friends to go for a bike ride and appreciate the river. But if you sign up as a host, then we'll put it on our website and people can see the events. And we've been having 1,000 to 2,000 people every year, the whole 200 miles. So we're shooting for 100 different events, but we don't run them. We just try to help organize it. And this is how it works in a watershed. You have to have a lot of partners. And we partner with governmental agencies, municipalities, other organizations. You could be a business sponsor for It's Our Fox River Day, and you'll get listed there. And that helps us finance the work that makes it happen. We have events happening all the time. You asked about education. We hooked up with Side Street Studio Arts, and we took their summer camp kids out to Poplar Creek, got them in the stream. Tomorrow we have a group of high school age kids in the group Tailoring Youth for Success. So we're just going to paddle on the Fox upstream of I-90. And again, half these kids probably have never been on the river before. So it's just introducing them. So we want to do a lot of things. We're only limited by the human resources that we have.
Well, I appreciate you coming in today. There's lots going on, and it's all for great causes as well. And I know you also do offer first Tuesday of each month board meetings as well too.
Yes, we do. People are welcome to come to a board meeting. We have a lot of different committees we're looking for people to serve on.
Very nice. Well, we're getting close to out of time here already. So we'll definitely have you in again here to talk in more detail about programs and events that are coming up. Gary, thank you so much for joining us today. We greatly appreciate your time and energy to come here and what the community, you and the community are doing. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. We're just looking for more friends. Ring us up.
Absolutely. Folks, check out more information, friendsofthefoxriver.org. You can also call them 815-356-6605. Their address is P.O. Box 5634 in Elgin, Illinois. That's 60121 for that zip code. Thank you so much for joining us today again.
All right. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Look forward to working with you.